Ah. He looked slightly uncomfortable. When David left, well, when he went into hospital, it was all a bit rushed. We were left to sort out a few bits and bobs, and this key, well, it must have just got lost in the whole getting everything sorted. Sorry. Rilla looked at him for a moment, arms still folded. Her face, which was her giveaway, was clearly making a very bad job of trying to look neutral. I was told there'd be no problem getting into the cottage. She sounded prickly and cross because, well, she was. And tired and fuzzy-headed and feeling a million feelings that she'd been keeping neatly locked away in a box in her head until now. When she was standing at Applemore Cottage for the first time in well over a decade. And this annoying man was getting in her way. All she wanted was to get inside and collapse on the sofa and sleep for about 100 years. It wasn't that much to ask, was it? Are you trying to suggest I've locked you out? He seemed amused, a small smile curving at the corners of his mouth. Have you got something to hide? He looked at her, a fleeting expression of something she couldn't quite read passing across his face. Nope, nothing to hide. No hidden agenda, just one of those things. Rilla glanced at the key, still feeling suspicious, and put it in the lock, shoving hard once again with her shoulder. The door swung open, and she half fell, half swung into the hallway of the cottage. A pile of letters lay on the mat. Okay, she turned to say, sorry, I didn't mean to... But the man was gone, like the magpie before him, and she was standing in the hallway of Applemore Lodge, completely alone. Chapter 1. So what's this about? Lachlan Fraser looked out of the window of his shared flat. He'd been living with his friend and business partner Gus for the last 4 years, and in that time, not once had he got bored of looking out across the stretch of houses and buildings that looked down towards the slate-grey waters of the Firth of Forth. Edinburgh was his favourite city in the whole world, and he was lucky to live there. Or he had been. He turned away from the view. Gus rolled up the sleeves of his blue and white striped shirt and took a cursory glance at himself in the mirror. As fair as Lachlan was dark, even now in his mid-30s, Gus's attempts at growing anything other than a pale fuzz of stubble were laughable. Not that his extremely expensive girlfriend Lucinda seemed to mind. Lachlan groaned inwardly thinking about it. Flat sharing had its downsides, and lying in bed at 2 a.m. with a pillow over your head, trying not to listen to your best mate and his pretty much live-in girlfriend in bed, was definitely one of them. Mate. Gus broke into his thoughts. Lachlan stifled a yawn. He'd had about 4 hours sleep, and the prospect of today was not a pleasing one. It's the house. By house, Gus said, arching a sardonic eyebrow, I assume we mean enormous turreted castle in the Highlands? It's not a castle, Lachlan began, for the 100th time. It's a... Yeah, whatever. You've got turrets. QED. Doesn't everyone? Leaning into the joke, Lachlan threw one of Lucinda's expensive coffee mats at Gus's head. It flew through the air like a frisbee and narrowly missed his ear. Gus, with the lightning reflexes of an ex-rugby player, shot out a hand and caught it. House, castle. Okay, what's going on? We've had the calculations through for the death duties. Lachlan sighed. You do realise you give yourself away with that phrasing? I do, Lachlan said, confused. Inheritance tax? That's what the rest of us plebs call it. Death duties, inheritance tax, whatever. The thing is, we've got over 200 grand to materialise out of nowhere. Excellent. Gus sat down at the kitchen table and extended his long legs so his feet were balanced on top. Well, you can sell an old master or something. You've got loads of paintings hanging in the hall. One of them must be worth a bob or two. You'd be surprised. Lachlan thought about the shabby, once grand hallway of Applemore House. The painted walls, once deep burgundy, now faded to a dusty, dark pink, had a series of rectangular shapes where the burgundy paint could be seen. Each one marked the story of a financial disaster in the Fraser family. They'd sold off pretty much anything that was worth anything. Now all that hung on the walls were some distinctly un-PC stuffed animal heads, one of which, last time he'd been home, was bearing some unseasonal Christmas baubles hanging...